Pet owners. What's the craziest thing your pet has ever done while you left them home alone? I'd been working on a massive science project for 2 weeks straight. A solar system model with foam planets, charts, and a typed research packet that basically represented my entire grade. It covered my desk like a NASA launch pad. My dog Milo, a golden retriever mixed with the energy of a tornado, was unusually calm that morning. He lounged on his bed while I packed for basketball practice. I set a slice of leftover pizza on my desk for 30 seconds while I grabbed my water bottle, then forgot about it completely when my ride honked outside. 3 hours later, I opened my bedroom door and froze. Milo had apparently seen the pizza, climbed onto my chair, and turned my project into confetti. The slice was gone. The foam planets were torn into colorful chunks. The papers looked like they'd been through a shredder. Even my poster board was chewed into strips, covered in bite marks. Milo sat in the middle of the wreckage, wagging his tail proudly, like he just made a discovery worthy of a Nobel Prize. The next morning, I walked into class holding what was left of my project and braced myself for humiliation. My teacher, Miss Carter, had a reputation for being fair but strict. She was the type who could smell an excuse a mile away. I explained how I'd worked for 2 weeks, how everything was ready, and how my dog had destroyed it. At first, she nodded politely. Then I hit the line. My dog ate my homework. Her eyes narrowed instantly. "You're the 4th student this month to say that," she said flatly. "Do you really expect me to believe it?" I stammered that it was true, but she crossed her arms. "If you want credit, you'll prove it. Rebuild the project, set up a camera, and show me footage of your dog destroying it again." 1 week. The class burst into laughter. I thought she was joking, but Miss Carter doubled down. She even gave me suggestions. "Use the same bait," she said. "Pizza worked last time, right? Make sure the camera angle captures everything." She was basically storyboarding the crime scene, so I became both student and director. I rebuilt the entire solar system, borrowed my dad's old security camera, and set it up in perfect view of my desk. Friday morning, I placed a fresh slice of pizza in the exact same spot, pressed record, and left. Milo put on a performance worthy of an Oscar. The footage showed him sniffing the air, hopping onto the chair, inhaling the pizza in one bite, then gleefully dismantling my entire project. He shredded the papers into tiny snowflakes, chewed the foam planets into chunks, and pawed the poster board until it collapsed. The final shot was Milo sitting in the middle of the destruction, wagging his tail like he'd just completed a successful mission. Monday morning, I walked into class with my laptop. "You wanted proof?" I said, plugging it into the projector. The entire class gathered around. The second Milo appeared on screen, people started chuckling. When he lunged for the pizza, the room erupted. Kids were doubled over laughing, pointing at the screen as he tore through Saturn like a chew toy. Someone yelled, "He's going for Jupiter!" and the class lost it. Miss Carter sat frozen at her desk, her mouth hanging open. By the time the video ended, with Milo proudly wagging his tail amid the wreckage, the class was crying with laughter, and Miss Carter looked like she'd just realized she'd made the worst bet of her career. She stood up slowly, cleared her throat, and said, "You're excused from the project." Full credit. I couldn't believe it, but she wasn't finished. "However," she added, "this video will be used as an example of why excuses sometimes require unusual verification." The principal came in later to ask why students were raving about a dog homework movie. Miss Carter had to explain she'd actually assigned me to record proof of a dog eating homework. He just shook his head and said, "That's not in the curriculum." From that day forward, every time someone claimed their dog ate their work, the class would shout, "Where's the video?" Milo, meanwhile, is still obsessed with pizza. Anytime I bring a slice near my desk, he perks up like he's waiting for another chance to help with my homework.